morning, everybody. Wakey, wakey. It's time for Morning Glory. This is the best breakfast show in Kenya.
So happy to be here this morning. So happy to talk about shifting the power. And more happier to see how that shifting of the power can ignite change. And that is enough exciting reasons to be here this morning. The East Africa Philanthropy Network, what we do is to generate knowledge, to build alliances, to ensure that we have an enabling environment for the growth of philanthropy, and to strengthen institutions which are engaged in the philanthropy work. And so we must empower these communities to shape the investment outcomes and participate in decision making and, of course, the evaluation processes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first panel discussion on this conference is about a system change approach to shift the power to grassroots organizations. The questions are why, how, and also the way forward. Allow me to call Marlene Kawira on stage. She is the founder of Africala Arts. She is part of Light Up Impact Community in Kenya. Tafadhali tumpigieni makofi.
Some of the key things that we're going to be looking at today is what are the basic fundamentals of development systems that we need to change in order to shift the power. Actually, who are we shifting the power to? I believe all of us here have the power. Now we just need the platform, right? So we want to know how exactly we can do that. And then we also need to look at the relationship between us and other stakeholders. I believe a number of stakeholders are also represented here. And we are also going to look at how do we hold each other accountable, not only us, but also other stakeholders in the same platform. So welcome, my able panelists. So today I want to start with Caesar. So Caesar, feel welcomed, and sorry to put you on the spotlight to begin with. So we would like to know, in your experience as a program director and long-term engagement with civil society organizations like the ones represented here, we would like to know what aspects of development systems have already changed, because I believe you interact with programs on a day-to-day basis. You're part of the due diligence process. So maybe you can tell us what still needs to be changed to ensure local development and empowerment of all these grassroots.
The time flies very far. And one of the things that characterizes our development ecosystem in the last 10 years, and I'm just speaking to what I've seen, was that a lot of organizations were centered around Nairobi. And it was very difficult to find entities or communities that are well organized. And organized, I don't mean that you're receiving a lot of funding. I just mean that people are able to be people. And one characteristic of human beings is that we are social beings. And how do we organize for a collective good of the community? Now, today, and this is thanks to organizations like ACDF, CARE, and many others who have been doing a lot of work within the community. So there's a very vibrant ecosystem, and that's why a majority of you are here. So I think for me, that is one of the things and one of the good recipe for the conversation of today, because there's somebody who is ready, who is uptaking the power that is being shifted. Of course, it is still not enough.
The practical steps and solution to ensure relationship between funders and grassroots are more equal and tailored to their needs.
I think part of my question before has answered that in bringing in the equality. The one thing that we do is once we receive a huge batch of funding, we have an extensive feedback process. So we do have like 3 board meetings every year. Before these board meetings happen, we ensure that our representatives from the board, we have supported them to host country meetings where now we have feedback on priorities. Many times, as the Secretariat, we have created one path that we think is what we should do, and we have many times reversed or amended that path where funding should go. A good example is like we had an Education and Innovation Fund that we thought specifically was to return girls back to school who had dropped out during COVID, but we did have partners who said the practicality of the situation of some of the girls required them to have studies, and so we were able to change that fund to incorporate, something like that. So before we administer funding or have funding questions, we have honest conversations. The other thing is to look at where this conversation is happening in terms of equality. So in an organization, for example, as the CEO, or if in a big multinational organization, for example, you might have a program officer who's very focused on localization, but you'll find that the finance system is not in this room, right? The finance people. So you'll find that the program angle or part of the organization is pushing this conversation, but its implementation is not taking root. So we really tried to match this. So our policy is from the moment we announce disbursement of funds, within a week, all money has gotten to the community. And I hope that other organizations will take lead in this process.
So in relation to what Udhabiti is doing right now, Udhabiti's work, and I believe it is currently championing collaborative action for childcare. So can you just shed light on the different aspects of the system that you have led or had to lead to tackle, and how do you ensure that the voices of the most vulnerable, because working with children, some of the children are really vulnerable depending on the kind of economic situation, geographical disposition, and all that. So would you tell us how Udhabiti's work is trying to change the systems to shift the power?
We created the Collaborative Action for Childcare as a platform that brings everybody together and that actually ensures that there is limited or no competition within the actors, where we co-create solutions with each other and actually seek for funding together. And that's the platform we are creating right now. So the Collaborative Action for Childcare is a Pan-African platform. It's been operating in Kenya until now, but now we are expanding the membership to the rest of Africa with the aim and vision that ultimately, through local organizations working together and connecting through the Collaborative Action platform, we will catalyze action on childcare, not just in Kenya, but across the continent.
Thank you very much, Asaya. And I would like now to call on Mwende. And Mwende has been working with CARE, and a lot of you, I believe, know about CARE. It's not someone new to the room. And maybe Mwende, you can tell us what type of bottom-up approaches CARE is putting in place, especially while partnering with small organizations, and what does localization mean to CARE? And maybe while at that, you can tell us about how you are what you're doing to keep stakeholders accountable in the process of shifting the power.
Okay, thank you. So yes, as an international NGO, you can imagine the kind of grappling we've had to do with that, with the aspect around localization. But happy to mention that in CARE, this has become something that, a discourse that we really want to take. And so as part of our global strategy, localization and locally led, programming is really at the center of it all. So moving from the global context to the country context, I think within CARE Kenya, that realization, previously we did a lot of implementation, direct implementation as an organization, but we've now shifted, and now we are implementing more and more through local organizations and through local governments and through local private sector partner, because I think that tends to be left out sometimes. So within CARE, one of the things we quickly realized is that working with grassroots organizations, a lot of innovations and ideas actually are locally led. However, we have, as my colleagues have mentioned, grassroots organizations at different levels. So not all organizations are the same level. So one of the things that we've endeavored to do is provide organizations with capacity strengthening. So in terms of making sure that they have their systems in place, they have policies in place, that also they can be able to have, say, like financial systems for the purposes of accountability, knowledge management systems. And so we've invested a lot in that. We are working with about 120 local organizations, grassroots organizations. And so that's one of the things that we've really endeavored to do.
Many people are respecting the work we do. The communities we serve are actually very grateful to what we do. And I would like to tell you guys to keep on doing what you do. You are amazing, and I look forward to interacting with some of you out there. Feel free to direct some of your questions, for the ones who have not asked, to the able panelists out there as we interact and also get to know them. So thank you, everybody, and thank you to the panelists.
Thank you so much.